Sheila Marcelo wasn't raised in a household with traditional gender expectations. She was pushed by her entrepreneur parents to learn math. It was while she was entrepreneur in residence at Matrix Partners that she developed the plan for Care.com. Today, Care.com has more than 15.2 million members in 16 countries, connecting families and caregivers in a convenient and reliable way. Named one of the top 10 women entrepreneurs at Fortune's Most Powerful Women Summit, the multi-awarded Marcelo is proof that the world is big enough for women in technology. Like math, innovation knows no gender. Ladies and gentlemen, the founder and CEO of Care.com, Ms. Sheila Marcelo.
They already have a backup plan for me. Good morning. So this morning I'm going to talk about why care, why it's a global issue, why it's personally important to me, and why as an entrepreneur I'm making an impact. So I'll start off by saying I'd like you to close your eyes. And I'm looking at you, so please go ahead and close your eyes. Everybody. I'm going to say the word care. Close your eyes. Care. Now open them. How many of you thought of moms, grandmother, caregivers, love? Often the soft issues. How many of you thought of the phrase economic imperative? Does that even come up with that four-letter word? Such a soft issue. Why do I call it an economic imperative? Because today in the US alone, $280 billion is spent on child and senior care. It's in the US, it's not even global. Second issue, it's often the most expensive item now for dual income families in the United States. It's actually higher than home and mortgage. It's more expensive, even more expensive than transportation or college. Third, what's the key driver of absenteeism in the workplace? What impacts productivity? And today, what are they calling what impacts presenteeism? Care. Fourth, GDP would increase if we had equal female participation in the workplace. Guess by how much? In the United States, 9%. If women worked as much as men, 9% in the US, 13% in the EU, 16% increase in Japan. 16%, it's unheard of. What supports women working? Care. So if you ever wonder if it's a soft issue, it's not. It's full of love, but it is an economic imperative. Second fact about care. You're sitting here in the audience saying, Sheila, this doesn't pertain to me. I've got care at home, very affordable here in the Philippines. Doesn't matter. How many of you have children? How many of you have nieces and nephews? How many of you have been children? We have a soaring senior care crisis that is upon us. And this is no joke. Today, 50% in the US between their 40s and 50s are already part of the sandwich generation. Over the age of 65, 1 out of 9 will die of Alzheimer's, and over 85, and we are aging and getting older because of healthcare and technology, 1 out of 3 will have Alzheimer's. And for you women in the audience, 2/3 will be women. And 2/3 of the caregivers will be women. So if you wonder whether care should pertain to everyone, absolutely. The third, not only do we have a growing demand problem, we have our serious supply issue. Two issues that come with supply. Where do you think the caregivers are coming from? One, there's paid caregivers. They are significantly underpaid. Most countries around the world do not support domestic care workers. They don't have the laws or the regulations to protect them. So how are we going to attract people into this space that we have a high demand to take care of our loved ones? And for those that are unpaid, here's what's happening. Women are opting out. What do I mean by that? In many developed countries around the world, women are deciding not to get married or to have children. They don't want the burden. In Taiwan, 1 out of 3 women are deciding not to get married. In Japan, 1 out of 5. You're wondering, well, how does that impact supply? Who do you think the caregivers are? 50 years ago in Japan, daughter-in-laws, 50% were the caregivers. Today, 16%. Who, for men in the audience, who is going to care for the parents of single men when we have issues around supply? What's the solution? Care must transcend boundaries. If you ever wonder about immigration reform, my prediction, just like food, care will be an essential. We will open our borders to make sure that there's care and that there will be a global marketplace. So if you still think it's a soft issue with those 3 arguments, come talk to me afterwards. But now, why do I care? Me personally. I was born and raised here in the Philippines proudly. I went to the United States for college. I went to Mount Holyoke College, and I got pregnant at a very young age. I don't wish it upon your children. It was very difficult. I had to go through undergrad, grad school with my husband, Ron, and through our careers, struggling with care. And fast forward, our younger son, Adam, I begged my parents to come to the U.S. to take care of our younger son. And my father was carrying him up the stairs and fell backwards and had a heart attack. So at 29 years old, here I am, an immigrant in the United States. My husband's parents were deceased. I was working in a technology company, and I was using the yellow pages to look for care, an important issue that was going to help me fulfill my dreams in my career to go work. And I was using the yellow pages, so there had to be a better solution. So now as an entrepreneur, why do I care? We started this in 2006. You heard in the introduction, I was an entrepreneur in residence, my 3rd company. We've raised over $200 million. We're now in 16 countries. We took the company public 2 years ago, but let me tell you, it is a hard ride as an entrepreneur. Many of you are nodding. SMEs, startups, it's difficult. Here are my 3 lessons. I call them my 3 Ps. It's quick. The first one, get over the perception issues. It's very difficult. So, because Asian, Filipina, 6 of us, everyone had designated professions because my parents were entrepreneurs. They didn't want any of us to be entrepreneurs. There had to be a doctor. There had to be the dentist. There had to be an accountant. And I was the designated lawyer. And I decided I wasn't going to practice law. I studied law, but that's not what I was going to do. I was overly worried about my parents' perception. Still want to respect your parents, but pursue your passion and your dreams. Second story around perception is when I started this company, I had a classmate who worked at an investment bank who I very much respected. And she sat down with me when I was thinking about this company, and she said, why on earth, after 2 dual degrees at Harvard, would you start a babysitting company? Why would you go do that? Why don't you, instead I had an offer to be a CEO of a hot internet mobile gaming company. And I opted to do this because of what a mentor said to me, to be true to yourself instead of managing perception. He asked me this simple question: are you in the pain business or are you in the pleasure business? That means, am I focused around entertainment or am I there to solve problems? Pain business. Prior to Care.com, I was helping families save money for college. Not very fun. Second, try to find a job. Third, now trying to find care. So manage the perception issues in your life. to go pursue something. Second P, people. Cannot be where we are today without the incredible team. The incredible team. I tell you, this is not even part of my speech. Jonathan here from Thumbtack's a friend. He brought his team to the front row. And you know what was the most important thing to him? He took a picture of them at the very beginning. And I observed that and I said, building companies is about the people. It is about the teams. For all SMEs and startups, you cannot do it alone. I get the honor of being able to stand up here and share my story, but it is the people behind the things that we build. Every service built by people, despite technology. Every product built by people. The third is basically making sure that we're going and following our passion, whatever we decide to do. And so how do I bring this passion, my whole authentic self, to what I do? First of all, I'm a mom. I'm proud to be a mom in what I do. I used to have a difficult personality, and when I brought myself to work, I had this legal, logical approach to work. And I decided to soften my style because I wasn't that fun to work with. I had to soften my style to make sure that I could bring both my tough and nurturing self to work. The second that I get to bring my whole self is I'm Filipina. When I started this company, my mother said to me, did you know that it happens to be that the number one source of caregivers all around the world is the Philippines? That every day I can proudly say that I am doing something that is about who I am as a whole person. And the third is I'm a global citizen. I now live in the United States, but I travel all around the world and I hear stories. I hear stories of people, of their difficulty finding care, whether that's special needs, Alzheimer's, ADHD, whatever it may be. That now it doesn't matter where I'm from, even though I'm proud that it's part of the nurturing culture that I'm part of. But what am I doing to help people? So before I turn it to questions, why should you care? Why? Because I've also already said it's an economic imperative. It's something that's important to everyone because care touches each of our lives. It unites us. It actually elevates and supports us to pursue our passions, drive economic growth. So it's apropos that APEC's theme is actually building inclusive communities to build a better world. So please care.